In this lesson, we're going to look at similar triangles again, but some problem solving questions involving similar triangles. So you can see here that we've got a large green triangle and there's several numbers on it, so this can look quite complicated. We've also got a y on it, so we've got a y at the top here, we've got an 8, we've got a 4 and a 14, and we've got two parallel lines that are going up here and up here. Now the trick to this question, to try and find out what y is to separate the diagram into two separate triangles. The two separate triangles are the big green one on the outside. I'll just trace around that. So this big triangle here, which has a y on it, and the bottom bit comes to 18. You can see there's 4 plus 14, so the bottom bit's 18. So that would be a first triangle. And another triangle is the smaller one here. You can see that that goes down like that, along like that, and up like that. So there's two separate triangles there. Now the way I would do it is I tend to draw the one with the unknown triangle second, or the unknown bit on it. So see this triangle here, if you look at that, that's that one in there. So I've drawn that first because I've got two sides on it, the 8 and the 14. This triangle here is the big one. Again, I've drawn that second because it's got the unknown side on it. Once you've done that, it becomes a lot easier. So it's a similar question to one in the earlier lessons where you have to work out what the enlargement scale factor is. Now to do that, what you want to do is find the two corresponding sides that you've got numbers on. You've got 14 and 18 there. And so you divide the second number by the first number, you're going to get what your enlargement scale factor is. So 18 divided by 14 up here, the enlargement scale factor is 1.29. You can leave it as 1.285 blah 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 in the calculator, because effectively what you need to do is you need to multiply 8 by this to get up to the y value here. So if you take your y and you times your 8 here, because this is your corresponding side, you've got 8 here and your y. So take your 8 and times it by your scale factor, you'll get your answer of 10.32. So it's just as an earlier question, if you separate it into two separate triangles like this, always put your second triangle as the one with the unknown bit on it. Okay, again similar question, a bit more tricky this time. We've got y in the bottom here. But the trick again is to split it into two triangles. We've got a triangle here, and then we've got the bigger triangle on the outside. Now the problem with this one is that both triangles have got unknowns on them. This wee triangle here is going to have a y and a 5. The bigger triangle, which goes way up here and down and along, that bigger triangle's got an 8 on it. But again, the bottom bit's a wee bit tricky to work out if you don't know what you're doing. From here to here's y, and from here to here's 6. So a lot of people write 6y, which is wrong. You don't multiply these two things. If that was, I don't know, 7 and that was 6, you would add them. So this bottom bit's y plus 6. So in the blue triangle you've got 8 and y plus 6. The wee yellow one here you've got 5 and y on it. And this looks like this. Okay, I'll just rub that out again. And we can see here what I've done. So this wee triangle here is y and 5. This triangle here is this big one. So 8 at the side and y plus 6 at the bottom. Just add these two things together. Okay, so corresponding sides in this are the 5 and the 8 and the y plus 6. Now how do you deal with this sort of thing? Well, there's a wee trick to this again. 8 divided by 5 is the same as that divided by that, so we'll write that out. 8 divided by 5 is equal to y plus 6 divided by y. And that looks complicated. There is a trick to sort it, it's called cross multiplying. Now when you're cross multiplying, you can do two things at once. If you multiply the y up here, that's going to give you 8y on this side. And it gets rid of the fractions. This is the reason you do this cross multiplying, just to get rid of these fractions here. So if you times the y up by the 8 over there here, and then if you take the 5 and do the same thing and multiply up, you can times all of that by 5. Now the way to do that is just to put the y plus 6 in a bracket and the 5 in front. Now if we can sort all this out, we can work out what y was, and that's what the question is. Calculate the value of y in the diagram. Okay, 8y equals 5 times y and 5 times 6 to multiply that bracket out, so 5y plus 30. If you try and collect up the y's over another side, so if you take away 5y from both sides, you're going to get a 3 here, and that's get rid of that 5y, so that will leave you with 30. And then to finish off, just get 1y, so divide by 3, so that's going to be 10. Okay, I think it's worth having another wee look at something like that. So again, a wee bit of a step further here, but a very similar idea. We've got a big green triangle, 4 and a 2 and a 3 and a y plus 2. Again, we've got to calculate the value of y. Again, you can see this cross multiply is going to come into effect. Now, the two triangles that we've got here are this wee triangle. Again, draw the wee triangle here. It doesn't really matter which way around you have this, but I'm drawing the wee one first because they've both got unknowns in them. And then we've got the big triangle. Now you'll notice the big triangle has got a 4 here, which I've put. And then you might be wondering why I've got this at the bottom. Well, when you get y plus 2 for this bit, and then you're adding on 3, well, 2 add 3 makes 5, so that's really just y plus 5 on the bottom here. Okay, so corresponding sides, you've got the 2, and you've got the 4, and you've got the y plus 2 and the y plus 5. So the second number divided by the first number, so 4 divided by 2 is equal to the y plus the 5 divided by the y plus the 2. Again, faced with that, looks a wee bit confusing, but if you do the cross multiplying, you can get yourself out of it and you can get yourself rid of the fractions. So if you multiply up this one first, so y plus 2 times 4. Again, when you're multiplying more than one thing by a number, like the y plus 2 is more than one term, you put it in brackets. So 4 bracket y plus 2, so that the 4 times is both things. And do the same to the other side, you're doing the 2 multiplied up here by the y plus the 5. So put the y plus 5 in brackets and put a 2 in the front. And that's how you get rid of the fractions. So times this side out, 4 times y and 4 times 2, so that's 4y plus 8. And 2 times y and 2 times 5, so that's 2y plus 10. Now, to sort this out, if we get rid of that 2y, and if you take it away from both sides, so if you take it away from here, you're going to get 2y plus an 8. If you take it away from here, you're just left with a 10. Get rid of the 8 here, because we just want y's effectively on this side and numbers on the other, so take away the 8 from both sides. If you take away the 8 from this side, you're going to get 2y. If you take away the 8 from here, you get 2. And finally, if you have your answer, you're going to get 1. So y is 1.